The sun in Phoenix was merciless. It bounced off chrome hoods and glass panels with a sharpness that felt almost personal. At the far end of the parking lot, a matte black SUV eased into a shaded spot. Nothing about the vehicle screamed for attention, and neither did the woman who stepped out of it. She wore a black hoodie, clean but faded, curls tucked beneath the fabric. Her sneakers made no sound against the pavement. She walked like someone used to being watched but never truly seen. Her name was Monica Carter, age 38, black, brilliant, and today, deliberately undercover. Noble Auto was the kind of place where appearances were currency. The kind of showroom where the leather chairs cost more than some used cars, and the front desk smiles came with silent calculations. Inside, chilled air met polished tile. The smell of money was faint, but present. Monica stepped through the glass doors and the room blinked. Not visibly, not loudly, but in the way eyes slide over someone they've already decided doesn't belong. Then came the click of heels, precise, practiced. Linda, front-end manager, beige suit, bright lipstick, clipboard clutched like a badge. "Hi there," she said. "Can I help you with something?" Monica didn't answer right away, because some days, silence said more than any question. Before we begin, if stories like this matter to you, take a moment to support this channel. Like this video to amplify the message. Comment below if you've ever been misjudged at first glance. Share this story with someone who needs to hear it. And subscribe for more powerful moments where injustice is exposed one silent act at a time. Now, let's go back to the beginning. To the moment Monica Carter walked through that door, and the quiet storm that followed. Monica didn't flinch when the glass door eased shut behind her. She had been in colder rooms, boardrooms where her ideas were met with polite nods and stolen credit, gala dinners where waiters handed the wine list to her assistant. But this place was different. Here, the judgment didn't wear pearls or tuxedos. It wore name tags. She let her eyes drift casually, deliberately across the space. A silver coupe on the pedestal. A cherry-red convertible posed like a fashion model beneath sculpted lighting. Every detail of Noble Auto screamed aspiration, but what it whispered was exclusion. She noticed the receptionist pause mid-keystroke when she walked in. A young man near the coffee machine straightened his tie. The scent of leather was sharp, but not as sharp as the tension in the air. And then Linda approached. The manager's smile arrived before her body did, but it was too smooth, too measured, like it had been used one too many times that morning. Looking for something in particular, she asked. Monica's hoodie absorbed the question, but her eyes answered. "I'm just browsing." Linda gave a nod that wasn't really a nod. It was permission disguised as hospitality. "Well," she said, tone lilting, "most of our inventory is by appointment. We like to ensure our clients have a tailored experience. You know, less foot traffic." Monica tilted her head. Foot traffic. The word clung to her skin like humidity. She could have said 1,000 things in that moment, could have shown her bank account, could have dropped her last name like a match. Instead, she smiled. And that smile, quiet, unreadable, was the first warning that Linda missed. The storm had entered the room. It just hadn't raised its voice yet. Linda didn't leave. She lingered, like a chaperone at a party she didn't trust. Clipboard tucked close to her chest, eyes scanning Monica's hoodie as if cotton could commit a crime. Monica walked deeper into the showroom, not rushed, not hesitant. She paused by a charcoal gray coupe, its hood curving like a question mark, its price tag discreetly displayed behind glass. She leaned slightly, her fingers brushing the air just above the paint. "Please don't touch the vehicles," Linda said, voice still sugary, but now with edges. Monica didn't move. Her hand hovered, then lowered. She turned her head just enough to speak, but kept her gaze on the car. Of course, wouldn't want to smudge anything. Linda folded her arms. "If you'd like to schedule a consultation, I can check our availability. We have a waiting list for certain models. Monica straightened, met Linda's eyes. A waiting list for curiosity. That was the first time Linda blinked. Not out of offense, out of confusion. The kind that comes when someone doesn't follow the script. Well, she said, recovering. Our clientele is selective. We try to match them with vehicles that reflect their lifestyle. Monica smiled. And what lifestyle would you match me with? Linda hesitated, a breath too long. Then, something practical, maybe an economy hybrid, or a certified pre-owned sedan, reliable, efficient. The words dropped like coins into a tip jar, small, calculated, dismissible. Monica let the silence stretch. She had studied power long enough to know its quietest forms. Thank you, she said finally. It's always good to know how people see you when they think you're nobody. She stepped past Linda then, as soft as shadow. The air felt colder now. And Linda, for the first time, didn't have a line ready. She could feel it. The glances, the quiet tracking, the way voices dipped each time she moved past. Monica had been mistaken for many things in her life: assistant, intern, guest of the actual guest. But rarely had she been mistaken this openly, in a place she owned. She stood before a deep blue SUV, all muscle and chrome. Its design was bold, unapologetic. Something about it reminded her of her younger self before the board seats, before the stock options. Back when confidence had to arrive before credentials. Behind her, she heard footsteps again. Not Linda this time. A man early 30s, collared shirt too tight around the neck. Voice dipped in surface charm. Need help with anything, he asked. Monica turned, slow and still. Just taking it all in. He nodded, gestured toward the SUV. Not sure that one's in your budget range, but we've got a few smaller crossovers great on mileage. She let the words settle between them. Let him hear himself. Let him feel the echo. Then I see, and you know my budget because... He hesitated. I didn't mean, I just assumed. That I was browsing outside my tax bracket. A pause, too long. Monica gave a small, polite smile, the kind that didn't rise to her eyes. Don't worry, she said. I'm used to being underestimated. It usually works in my favor. And with that, she walked away again. Each step was measured, intentional. Because this wasn't just a visit, it was a mirror. And soon, someone was going to see themselves in it, whether they liked the reflection or not. Monica moved toward the far wall, where a row of luxury sedans gleamed under soft spotlights. Each was engineered precision seats hand-stitched, grills sculpted like jewelry, and yet none of it impressed her. She wasn't here to be dazzled. She was here to listen. To what wasn't being said. Across the room, Linda had regrouped at the front desk. She spoke to the young salesman who had just approached Monica. Her voice hushed, clipped. The glance she threw across the showroom was meant to be discreet. It wasn't. Monica noted it, noted everything. She circled one of the sedans, pausing near the driver's side, not touching, just watching her own reflection curve along the glass. There was something about showrooms, the way they polished everything but never the way they treated people. She'd seen it before in banks, in law firms, in luxury boutiques that didn't carry her size, and now, here too. From her pocket, she took out her phone, not to call, just to scroll. The movement made Linda stir. Within seconds, the manager was on the floor again, smile in place, voice practiced. If you're waiting for someone, she said, we do have a guest area, complimentary water, Wi-Fi. Might be more comfortable than standing around. Monica looked up, her face unreadable. That's kind of you, she said, but I'm quite comfortable here, just enjoying the view. Linda hesitated. There was something unnerving about the woman's calm, too calm for someone supposedly out of place. But Linda didn't press, because somewhere, in the back of her perfectly organized mind, a quiet discomfort had begun to form. A question she couldn't name yet. But it was coming. And Monica knew it. Linda didn't like the silence. It stretched too long, too comfortably, as if Monica had no intention of playing the role she'd been cast in. "I just want to make sure you're getting the help you need," Linda offered, her smile tightening at the corners. Monica turned, slowly. Her expression was kind, almost gracious, but her eyes did not blink. "I am," she said, "more than you know." There it was again, that calm. Linda shifted, the clipboard pressed tighter to her chest. "Well," she said, trying again, "if you're seriously considering a purchase, we can pair you with a client advisor, someone to walk you through our financing process." Monica raised an eyebrow. "Assuming I need financing." The words weren't loud, but they landed with the weight of stone dropped in still water. Linda blinked. "Oh, I didn't mean, I just thought that someone like me would need help paying for something like this." Linda opened her mouth, closed it, tried again. "It's policy," she said, voice thinner now. "We always start with pre-qualification." Monica nodded. "Of course, policies are useful, especially when they give people a reason to pretend their bias is procedure." The sentence floated in the air between them, elegant, untouched. Linda didn't respond. She couldn't. Her silence said more than 1,000 corporate emails ever could. Monica took one last look at the lineup of vehicles, then back at Linda. "Would you mind doing something for me?" she asked. Linda straightened, eager to redirect. "Certainly. Could you let the owner know someone's here to speak with them?" Linda froze. Just for a moment. But in that pause, something shifted, and the floor beneath her certainty began to crack. "The owner," Linda repeated. Not accusatory, not amused, just disoriented. Monica nodded once. Calm. Certain. "As I said, I'd like to speak with them. Shouldn't take long." Linda recovered quickly, at least on the outside. "I'm afraid that's not how we operate," she said, tone clipped. "Our owner isn't based on sight. They don't meet with walk-ins." Monica raised her phone. "Then perhaps I'll give them a call." Linda's breath caught. She masked it with a tight smile. "Ma'am," she began, now with a note of irritation. "I'm trying to be respectful, but this is starting to feel inappropriate. You've been here for some time. If you're not here to purchase, I'll have to." Monica pressed the call button. A name appeared on the screen. The kind of name only those in certain circles would recognize. Not that Linda noticed. She was too busy folding her discomfort into authority. The phone rang once, then connected. "Hi," Monica said, her voice warm. "I'm here now." "Yes, everything's fine. Could you come out front for a moment?" She hung up, then turned to Linda. "They'll be right with us." Linda tried to hide it, but her hands had started to tremble, not visibly, just enough that she gripped her clipboard tighter. What is this about?" she asked. Monica looked at her, not with malice, not with triumph. Just patience. "You'll see." And behind that simple phrase sat a truth Linda had never prepared for. That the woman she tried to escort out might be the one she worked for. The showroom had grown quieter. Not silent, but stilled. The kind of quiet that comes before a storm makes landfall. Monica stood calmly near the floor model she had admired earlier. One hand tucked into her hoodie pocket, the other still holding her phone. She didn't look triumphant. She didn't need to. Linda, on the other hand, was no longer composed. She hovered near the reception desk now, speaking in hushed tones to one of her junior staff members. The mask of corporate control slipped more with every glance she cast toward Monica. Then the door opened. A man in a navy suit stepped inside, tall, composed, familiar. His name was Eric Devlin, regional director. One of the few people in the company who knew exactly who Monica Carter was. He spotted her instantly, smile warming as he approached. "Ms. Carter," he said, voice clear, respectful, genuine. "I wasn't expecting you today." Monica returned the smile, subtle but full of quiet intent. "I know." That was the point. Eric turned to Linda. whose face had gone from tight to colorless. "Linda," he said evenly, "I see you've met our principal investor." Linda's lips parted. Not in greeting, in disbelief. I didn't realize." Monica stepped forward, not aggressive, not confrontational, just present. "Of course you didn't." The words were soft, but they landed with the full weight of the moment, not as an accusation, but as a mirror. And Linda, for the first time in a very long time, saw something she didn't like in the reflection. Linda stood still. Not out of respect, out of confusion. The kind that comes when the world reorders itself and you're no longer at the center. Her hands clutched the clipboard tighter, as if it could anchor her back to control. I truly had no idea," she murmured, eyes flickering between Monica and Eric. "I'm sure you didn't," Monica said gently. "That's the part that worries me." Eric stepped back, giving space. He knew better than to interrupt now. Monica didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. Her presence did all the lifting. "Tell me something," she said, tone even, almost curious. "If I had come in wearing heels and a blazer, would you have walked me to the coupe, or would you still have suggested something practical?" Linda swallowed. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. Monica nodded slowly. "That's what I thought." The silence returned, heavier than before. Not awkward, just honest. Across the room, a few employees had taken notice. No one moved. No one dared to speak. The luxury showroom had become a classroom. And Monica was teaching without ever pointing a finger. "I came here today," she continued, "not to embarrass anyone, not even you." She looked Linda in the eye. "I came to see how people behave when they think power doesn't look like me." Linda looked down. Shame wasn't new. But this was different. This was earned. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I believe you," Monica replied. "But that's not the same as change." And just like that, Linda understood this wasn't a scolding. It was an awakening. Eric cleared his throat softly, not to interrupt, but to ground the moment. "I'll gather the senior staff," he said, turning to Monica. "Would you like to speak with the team?" She considered it, then nodded. Briefly, "I don't need a spectacle, just clarity." Within minutes, the floor managers, sales leads, and senior staff filtered into the glass-paneled conference room. Linda sat near the end of the long table, smaller now. Not because anyone diminished her, but because the illusion she had built around herself had quietly collapsed. Monica didn't sit. She stood at the head of the table, not as a figure of authority, but as a witness to something deeper. And everyone knew the difference. "Let me make this simple," she began. "I've invested in this dealership because I believe it can be more than just a showroom. It can be a statement." No one moved. No one blinked. "But what I experienced today tells me we have work to do, not because someone made a mistake, but because the mistake wasn't surprising." She let that settle. "I'm not angry," she continued. "I'm aware, and awareness comes with responsibility." Linda lifted her eyes just once. Monica met them. "No one here is being punished today," she said, "but everyone is being put on notice." Her voice didn't waver, not once. "We don't just sell cars here. We sell trust. And if trust depends on skin tone, on clothes, on accents, then it's not trust at all." A silence followed, not fearful, not tense, just honest. And that was new. After the meeting, the staff dispersed quietly. Some avoided Monica's gaze. Others offered nods, unsure if they were gestures of apology or respect. Linda lingered at the back of the room, her clipboard now more of a burden than a tool. Monica didn't chase her. She didn't need to. Shame has legs. It follows you. Eric approached, hands clasped loosely in front of him. "We'll begin retraining immediately," he said. "Bias recognition, inclusive service protocols, the works." Monica looked at him. Not coldly, but not gently either. "Good. But don't call it training," she said. "Call it unlearning, Training assumes we're adding something. This is about letting go. Eric gave a slow nod. And what about Linda, he asked, without assumption. Monica looked through the glass wall, where Linda now stood alone, staring at her reflection in the glossy hood of a showroom SUV. Accountability, Monica said, not humiliation. If she's willing to stay, she needs to rebuild. Eric exhaled, understood. But Monica wasn't done. And don't reshuffle her to another location. That's the old model, moving problems instead of solving them. She didn't raise her voice. Still, Eric stood straighter. I'll handle it, he said. Monica gave a single nod, then walked back into the main floor. The same luxury vehicles gleamed under showroom lights. But now, so did the air, as if the building itself had exhaled something it didn't know it was holding. A black woman in a hoodie had walked through these doors, unannounced. And somehow, without shouting or breaking a single thing, she had changed everything. Monica made her way back to the coupe, the same one Linda had subtly steered her away from. She ran her fingers just above the hood now, not touching it, just letting her shadow fall across the sleek metal. It reminded her of herself, polished, quiet, built for speed, yet always under scrutiny. Behind her, quiet steps approached. It was the young salesman, the one who had once offered her something smaller. "Miss Carter," he said, his voice steadier than before but still cautious. "I just wanted to say, I didn't know." She turned to face him, not with anger, just clarity. "You didn't ask." He nodded, guilt flickering across his features. "I assumed." "You did." A pause. He waited for more, for blame, for judgment. Instead, Monica asked, "What's your name?" "Derek." She repeated it, like she wanted to remember it for real. "Derek, I want you to imagine something. Imagine every customer who walks in here carries a silent history, a reason, a fight. Now ask yourself, do you speak to that history with care, or do you speak to what you assume?" He didn't answer. He couldn't. But something behind his eyes shifted. A door unlatched. Monica nodded. "It's not about being perfect. It's about being awake." Derek looked down, then back up, firmer this time. "I'll do better." "I hope so," Monica said. "Because next time, I won't be the one you're underestimating. It might be someone with less patience." She left him there still, thoughtful, changed. And somewhere deep in that silent space, a seed had been planted. Linda found her way to the lounge. Not the executive office, not her usual perch. Just a corner space meant for guests where bottled water sat untouched, and magazines were neatly fanned like props. She sat down slowly, legs crossed at the ankle, clipboard finally set aside. For the first time in years, she wasn't managing anything. She was listening. Across the showroom, Monica stood in quiet conversation with a technician, black, mid-40s, grease under his fingernails but wisdom in his posture. They exchanged something, unspoken respect, maybe, or recognition. Linda watched. She didn't feel threatened. She felt unmoored, like someone had rearranged the walls while she wasn't looking. Monica caught her gaze, then walked over, not with force, but with gravity. "Linda," she said, calm as ever. Linda stood, reflex, training, ego. "I owe you an apology," she said. Monica tilted her head, considering. "No, you owe yourself the truth." Linda faltered. "I was wrong. About you. About how I see people." Monica looked at her, not with pity, not with anger, just with the kind of clarity that disarms defense. "Then do the work," she said. "Not just today, when the room is watching, but next week, next year, when no one's clapping." Linda nodded, slowly. "I want to..." "Good. Then start by staying. And listening." The words were soft. But to Linda, they landed louder than any reprimand. Because this wasn't exile, it was invitation. And that was far harder to walk away from. The next morning, Monica returned. No hoodie, no fanfare. Just a dark green blouse, slacks pressed sharp, and an expression that said, "I belong here because I always did." Eric met her in the main office, a folder tucked under his arm, posture alert. "Morning," he said, trying to sound casual. "You didn't have to come in today." Monica set her bag down. "I know," she said, "but the culture I want doesn't build itself." She moved through the space like she'd never left. Her heels tapped softly against the tile, steady, measured, intentional. Linda looked up from her desk, paused. She was early. That, in itself, was new. Monica offered a nod. Not approval, not praise. Recognition. They held each other's gaze for a heartbeat longer than necessary, then moved on. At the morning huddle, Monica stood beside Eric as the team gathered. No formal announcements, no scripts. Just presence. "Before we begin," she said, her voice even, "I want to make one thing clear." Every eye lifted. "I don't care how many units you move this month. I care how people feel when they walk through those doors. Because at Noble Auto, we don't sell cars first." A pause. "We sell dignity. And if that's too heavy for your hands, this may not be the right place to stand." No one spoke, but heads nodded, even Derek. And somewhere near the coffee machine, Linda quietly, almost imperceptibly, exhaled. Because for the first time, the rules weren't changing. They were being rewritten. By noon, the rhythm inside Noble Auto had changed. Not in volume, in tone. Conversations became shorter, eyes more alert, jokes more careful, less about category, more about context. People weren't walking on eggshells. They were walking with awareness. In the service bay, Monica sat with the technicians during their lunch break. No speech, no spotlight, just a folded sandwich in wax paper and an open chair. One of the senior techs, Miguel, finally spoke. "You really own this place." Monica looked up, took a slow sip of her water, then said, "I do." Miguel whistled low. "No offense, ma'am. You don't carry it like the others." She smiled, not insulted. "That's because I don't carry ownership like a weapon." He nodded slowly. "Fair. Most of them don't even know our names." Monica leaned forward. "What's yours?" He blinked. And then he answered. A small moment, but it rippled through the room. Back in the showroom, Derek was shadowing a senior associate, listening more than talking, watching how people walked, how they hesitated near price tags, how they scanned the room for someone who might see them before selling to them. Linda, meanwhile, was at her desk, not scrolling, not disappearing. She was reading. A printout of the dealership's policy manual lay in front of her, marked up, underlined, circled in red. Because shame can drown, but accountability can build. And that was the difference Monica had always understood. She wasn't here to clean house. She was here to raise a roof no one thought could exist. That afternoon, a woman in a silk suit entered the showroom. Her heels echoed, her perfume announced itself before she spoke. She moved with practiced entitlement, the kind Noble Auto used to welcome without question. Derek stepped forward. "Good afternoon. May I help you find something today?" She looked at him briefly, then let her eyes wander toward Monica, who had just exited the side office. "And who is?" she, the woman asked, voice poised in that sharp space between curiosity and dismissal. Derek hesitated, then said, "She's our principal investor." The woman blinked once, collected her expression like a fallen scarf. "Oh." Monica walked over, not because she had to, but because this was her dealership now, and invisibility was no longer part of the culture. "Welcome," she said warmly. "Let us know if there's anything you need." The woman smiled tight, polite. "Of course, thank you." She walked off, but her gait had changed, not slower, just less certain. Monica turned to Derek. "You handled that well." He looked down, half grinning. "I didn't know what to say, so I just told the truth." Monica nodded. "Exactly." She walked back to the office, passing Linda on the way. Their eyes met again. And this time, Linda spoke first. "You're not what I expected," she said. Monica paused. "Neither are you." She didn't say it unkindly. She said it like someone who believed in possibility. And Linda, for the first time, believed it might not be too late to change what she had once defended. Not to keep her job, but to deserve it. That evening, the building emptied. Lights dimmed, doors locked, voices faded. Monica stayed behind. She stood alone in the center of the showroom, surrounded by polished steel, silence, and the scent of leather that still lingered like ambition. It was the first time she had allowed herself to pause. Not plan, not perform. Just be. She walked to the silver coupe again, the one she wasn't allowed to touch on day one. This time, she opened the door, not to prove a point, to feel it. Her hand brushed the wheel. Smooth. Cold. Designed for control. She sat down, let the seat cradle her like memory. And for the first time since arriving, she asked herself the question she had ignored all along. Do I believe I belong here? Not legally, not financially, not structurally, but emotionally. Because even when the world tells you no, loudly or quietly, you start to whisper it to yourself without realizing. She exhaled, one long breath that came from somewhere deeper than lungs. Yes, she thought, not because she had been validated, but because she had chosen not to wait for validation to begin with. She leaned back, hands resting on the wheel, eyes closed. This was her showroom now. But more than that, this was her silence. Owned, reclaimed, occupied. Tomorrow, she would lead. Tonight, she would sit. Because power, at its most complete, knows when to be still. The glass ceiling above her reflected the night sky black, wide, unbothered. Monica sat in the driver's seat of the silver coupe, not to test the engine, but to test herself. There were no mirrors here, only glass. And glass, unlike mirrors, doesn't give you back what you expect to see. It gives you the truth layered, refracted, undeniable. She let her head rest against the seat, her body loosened. Then came the memories. Not loud, but vivid. The internship where she was mistaken for the receptionist. The investor meeting where she was asked if she was someone's +1. The security guard who followed her through a wine shop until she smiled at him just to prove she wasn't a threat. Those weren't big explosions. They were pinpricks, paper cuts, and somehow, they had taught her how to armor herself in silence and smile through condescension. But now she owned the room they once tried to keep her out of. And that came with another question. How do you lead people you were trained to protect yourself from? She reached for the gear shift, not to drive, but just to feel the weight of decision in her hand. Then she laughed, softly, not from joy. From recognition. This wasn't just a car, this was a metaphor. Monica Carter, sitting still inside a machine built for movement, finally letting herself be still. Outside, the last parking lot light clicked off. Inside, she stayed. Not to linger in the past, but to honor the woman who had survived it. She exited the car slowly. No urgency, no rush, as if the moment deserved to be carried, not discarded. The showroom was still, the kind of stillness that doesn't ask for applause, the kind that waits to see who you are when no one else is watching. Monica walked across the marble floor, barefoot, now heels in hand. The click-click gone, just the hush of skin against stone. She approached the large glass door, and for a beat, just stood there. Her reflection stared back. No blazer, no logo, no performance, just Monica. The version of herself she had fought hardest to protect and longest to silence. She thought about Linda, about Derek, about Miguel in the service bay. Each of them had seen something shift, not just in her, but in themselves. And that, she realized, was leadership too. Not commanding a room, but shifting what the room thought it was supposed to be. She turned off the last light with one deliberate motion. Darkness folded around the steel curves and showroom glass like a silk shawl, not erasure, Just rest. Tomorrow would bring more training, more tension, more tiny wars to fight. But tonight, there was no enemy. Only space, and a black woman who had reclaimed it. Not with titles, not with apologies, not even with a speech, but with stillness, and the quiet certainty that she would never again ask permission to belong. The next week, the woman in the silk suit returned. But this time, she didn't lead with her perfume. She walked slower, looked longer, like she was no longer scanning for who had power, but for how it was held. Derek greeted her again. Posture straighter now. Not defensive. Just grounded. "Welcome back," he said, looking for something in particular. She smiled, softer than before. "I thought I'd browse," she said, then paused. "Is Ms. Carter in?" Derek nodded. "She's in the back office. I can let her know." "No," the woman interrupted. "Not yet. Let her work. I'll wait." She made her way to the lounge, same seat, same view of the showroom. But this time, her hands rested open in her lap. No phone, no crossed arms. Just waiting. Inside the office, Monica was reviewing onboarding proposals for new hires. Her vision was shifting from reparation to regeneration, how to build a place where people didn't have to unlearn what the culture never taught wrong in the first place. Eric knocked once. "She's here again," he said. Monica didn't ask who. She knew. "She can wait," she replied. Eric smiled. Monica looked up. "That surprises you?" "No," he said. "I'm just not used to silence being this loud." Monica smiled, just faintly. "That's because power used to speak first." "And now?" Now, it listened. After 20 minutes, Monica stepped into the lounge. The woman stood not out of fear, not even respect, just instinct. Monica walked over, not hurried, not slow, just complete. "I hear you came back," she said. "I did," the woman replied. "Something told me I hadn't seen everything the first time." Monica raised an eyebrow. "And what made you think there was more to see?" The woman hesitated. "I assumed that's what we do, isn't it? We scan people like receipts. We decide what they can afford based on what we think they carry." Monica didn't nod. She didn't need to validate regret. She let silence stretch just long enough for it to settle in the other woman's chest. "I didn't mean to offend you," the woman added quickly. "You didn't offend me," Monica said. "You reflected something I've seen my whole life. That's different." The woman looked down, her heels suddenly too loud, too stiff for this space. "I wanted to apologize. In person." Monica considered that. "Do you think apology is enough?" The woman swallowed. "I don't know." Monica sat down across from her. "That's a better answer than pretending you do." They sat. Two women, two lives, separated by experience but joined now by a moment that neither quite knew how to name. Monica leaned forward, voice low, deliberate. "You want to do better?" The woman nodded. "Then watch, listen, and when the moment comes, don't speak over it." The conversation ended without ceremony. No handshake, no closure speech, just a quiet understanding that sat between them like a third presence. The woman stood. "I won't take more of your time," she said. Monica didn't stop her. She didn't say, "Come again soon," or "Thank you for apologizing." She simply said, "Pay attention next time. To people who don't look like you. Speak last." The woman paused at the door. She turned not for drama, but for honesty. "I never expected someone like you to be in charge." Monica didn't flinch. "I know." And that was all. After the woman left, Derek passed by with a clipboard and caught Monica's eye. "She didn't even ask for the price list this time," he said. Monica smiled. "Not everything worth owning has a price tag." Derek chuckled. "You're starting to sound like a philosopher now." "Not quite," she said. "I just got tired of explaining my worth in digits." They both laughed, quiet and real. That afternoon, the air in the showroom was different. Not lighter. Just clearer. As if every polished surface now reflected more than cars. It reflected the people who dared to stand still and be seen. Monica stood by the front window, arms crossed loosely, watching customers browse. And in that stillness, she understood something. This wasn't just a correction. It was a beginning. And she was no longer asking permission to lead it. Days passed. But something stayed. Not tension, not apology. Something else. A kind of stillness that didn't feel like absence, but like presence that no longer needed permission. Monica walked through the showroom each morning without heels, without spectacle. She wore what she wanted, spoke when she needed, listened more than she ever had. People stopped trying to impress her, and started trying to understand her. Derek began leading new hire tours not because he was told to, but because he wanted the story of Noble Auto to start from the truth now. Miguel, the technician, had a clipboard of ideas taped to the service room wall, suggestions for better systems, training, mentorships. No one had asked. He'd just started. Even Linda changed. She still dressed the same, still spoke with that sharp executive clarity, but her posture had softened. Her eyes held a pause between sentence and assumption. Monica noticed and didn't say a word. Because real change doesn't need a ribbon cutting. It happens when no one's watching. It grows in silence, and it roots deepest when no one thinks to clap. On Friday, a young girl barely 20 walked in with her father. She wore a hoodie. Her braids were pulled back. Her eyes scanned the showroom, not with hope, but with caution. Linda stood. And for the first time, she walked forward, not to judge, but to greet. Linda approached the young girl and her father with practiced ease, but this time, it wasn't performance. It was presence. "Welcome to Noble Auto," she said, voice even. "Let me know if there's anything you'd like to explore." The girl glanced up, unsure. Her father nodded, cautious. Linda didn't rush them. She didn't explain prices before questions were asked. She didn't assume they were lost. She simply stood nearby, available but not intrusive. Monica watched from a distance. She didn't step in. Because sometimes, proof isn't what you say. It's what you let others do when you're not directing the scene. Derek passed by with a folder. He paused beside Monica and followed her gaze. "That's new," he said. "It is," Monica replied. "She's trying," he added. "She is." A beat. "Do you believe in second chances?" Derek asked. Monica didn't answer right away. Her eyes remained on Linda, now gently offering a bottle of water to the father, not as a gesture of hospitality, but as one of human recognition. "I believe in what people do when no one's grading them," she said. Derek nodded. "That's fair." Down the hall, someone laughed. The girl in the hoodie. A real laugh, not cautious, not measured. Just 17 and delighted by a car that looked like freedom. Monica smiled. Because that laugh didn't belong to her. And that was the point. The room didn't need to reflect her anymore. It needed to reflect the people who came after her. The girl and her father left an hour later. No purchase. No photos. Just smiles that didn't look rehearsed. Monica stayed behind, one hand resting lightly on the railing near the mezzanine. The light from the showroom windows stretched long and golden across the floor, not harsh, not boastful. Eric joined her, jacket folded over his arm. "Funny thing," he said. "We had record walk-ins this week. No ad campaigns, no promo deals, just people showing up." Monica glanced at him. "Maybe the air's clearer now." Eric nodded. "Maybe they feel like they belong here." Monica looked down at the polished tile, the place where she once stood, hoodie on, assumptions all around her, invisible ink on her worth. And now she wasn't the one being watched. She was the one watching others see themselves differently. She turned to Eric. "I won't be in next week." He raised an eyebrow. "Everything okay?" She smiled. "Everything's better than okay. But I need to be somewhere else. Not forever. Just long enough to breathe in a place that doesn't echo this one." Eric didn't ask for more. He just said, "It'll hold." Monica nodded. Because it would. Because she'd built it to. She walked toward the front door slowly, the weight in her steps not heavy, but earned. At the glass, she paused, looked back once. The showroom remained still, bright, ready. Then she stepped outside, not to leave, but to let it grow without her. And sometimes, that's the loudest kind of leadership there is. If this story touched your heart, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Every click helps us bring more powerful stories of empathy, justice, and silent strength to life. Your support is what fuels this journey. Let's keep standing together and rising higher, one story at a time. Stay safe and inspired.